Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to all watching at MESC Red Devils NCR. This is Delvin, and welcome to another episode of Two Cents with Delvin, where I will be taking you through certain issues and certain plot lines that are circling in and around Old Trafford. And this week, it has been a very interesting ride. Our first major defeat in the span of 5 to 6 months. Our biggest defeat in the Premier League history. Unfortunate game, a freak result, but we move on. However, this has been the first time where United as a whole, as an institution, as a club, the players, the manager, everyone has come under the scrutiny due to the sheer magnitude of the loss, the sheer ineptitude that was shown by certain players during the course of the 90 minutes that transpired at Anfield. All it took was one bad game, and once again, it seems like the vultures have begun to circle around Old Trafford, around certain players and the manager, so on and so forth. While everyone was rightly singled out for their poor performances, there was a new issue that has come to light, and that is the captaincy issue. So over the course of this season, we've had two captains. The one which began the season, and the one that is being the captain for majority of the season ever since the captaincy was changed. So we started off this season with Harry Maguire as our captain, and while he played for a couple of games, 3 to 4 games at the start, he was gradually phased out of the side, and now he's nothing more than a fourth choice or a fifth choice centre back at the club. In his absence, Bruno Fernandes has become the default captain of our side, and overall, he's done a very good job at leading the side. He demands more of his players, he demands more of himself, and he demands more from the fans as well. And it had worked well so far up until the Liverpool game. The Liverpool game is a microcosm of certain factors that does not put Bruno Fernandes in a good light when it comes to the captaincy. We could see that he was beginning to unravel very quickly, and those are kind of not exactly the qualities that are required in a United captain up to a certain extent. And his performance in particular, not only as a player but as a captain, came in under the microscope. And a lot of the pundits have gone ahead and spoken about that in detail. Uh, Gary Neville spoke about his body language being very embarrassing, and there was a certain misunderstanding that took place where, while Bruno was uh, confused about the fact whether it was his number that was coming up or no, the media took a wrong narrative and put forward a narrative saying that Bruno was the one who was asking to be subbed, and because his number was not up, he showed his annoyance and his ire on the fact that he was not the one who was subbed. While that is not the case, that was genuine confusion on the part of Bruno Fernandes not knowing who the substitution was. So that is one narrative that is being put forward in the dustbin. However, coming to the captaincy issue, Gary Neville called his body language embarrassing. Roy Keane was definitely not happy with the way he conducted himself as a captain, and particularly pinpointed at certain instances that, like him flailing an arm, making a big hue and cry about certain decisions that were the right decisions in hindsight, but he wanted everything and anything. And there was a seemingly innocuous challenge which prompted an exaggerated reaction from Bruno. And to top it all off, he went ahead and shoved the linesman, for which I believe he's very unlucky to stay on the pitch, and he's very unlucky that the FA has decided not to take any action against Bruno for that particular incident, because as we know, one of the cardinal rules for Premier League players is never ever manhandle a referee or a linesman. That is for goes for every player in the league. Unfortunately, Bruno did end up crossing that line, and I personally believe that he's a very lucky boy for having escaping further repercussions, and that the FA have decided not to go any further with this, because the minimum ban that he would have received for this would be 3 to 4 games, and already in a squad that is wafer thin as far as squad depth is concerned, we cannot afford to lose our main creative outlet. Coming back to the captaincy issue, there have been a lot of reports circling also that there are some players in and around the club that who are not exactly comfortable with the idea of Bruno being the captain, because of his ability to not hold his cool when things are not going his way or the team's way, which was very evident in the loss against Liverpool, that he was not able to control his emotions, he was not able to keep the team in check, and he was constantly belittling, not exactly belittling, but he was not happy with the way things were going on. A couple of instances where Garnacho was on the receiving end of a Bruno rebuke, where while Garnacho did take the option of shooting, Bruno Fernandes told him that the pass was a better option. And there was another instance where Bruno ended up telling him where he wanted the ball, so on and so forth. So this is a very surprising conundrum that has come in the season, because I did not see a lot of fans, I did not see a lot of players, ex-players, and a lot of newspaper outlets also having any problem with Bruno's captaincy when Man United were winning. But all of a sudden, one loss, although a big one loss, and the entire narrative changes. Bruno is a bad captain, the players are bad, the manager is bad. I certainly do not understand the hypocrisy or thought process of these outlets, or the sources that are providing the newspapers and the journalists with such information. Where is the credibility where is the credibility and where is the reliability of the information that you're providing? You need to have a certain set of facts. You need to have a certain corroboration of these reports. I did not see anything wrong with that. But however, captaincy is a big step, and captaincy is one of the big decisions that have to be taken in the course of the next summer. Bruno Fernandes is an able captain, but there are moments where you cannot have a very volatile individual as a captain. Bruno is a very passionate player, and all the past managers, be it Ten Hag himself, be it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer before, have gone ahead and spoken about the fact that Bruno wears his heart on his sleeve when it comes to playing games. Passion is good, emotion is good. It's not a detriment unless you let it take your head, and unless you let it get the better of you. That is when emotion and passion does not work for you. And that is exactly what happened with Bruno in the Liverpool game. His emotions got the better of him, his passion got the better of him, and he was not able to, and he was clouded by that perception, which is not exactly a good sign. With that being said, I've heard a lot of people speaking about the fact that Bruno should have never been the captain in the first place. I tend to disagree. For this season, yes, Bruno was the correct choice. However, for the coming season, there has to be a proper procedure and a proper candidate that has to be identified among the current lot. Eric Ten Hag spoke about about the need of having a lot of characters in the squad, and the transfer window and the transfer policy in this season was exactly built on those lines. So we do have a fair number of captaincy options which we could look for in the coming season. First one is De Gea, because of the longevity, because of sheer amount of time that he's been at the club. He's a senior figure in the dressing room. He's become much more vocal in the past few years. He's making his displeasure unknown. He's not afraid to speak when it is required, but he knows when to draw the line and how to draw the line in certain situations. So De Gea is one option to look at. However, the downside of De Gea being captain is that not a lot of goalkeepers in the Premier Leagues are captains. The only goalkeeper that I can think of who leads his side is currently Hugo Lloris, and that is the only one who is the captain, who and a goalkeeper at the same time. So that's one option, but however, there are its merits and demerits. Another option is Rafa Varane. Rafa Varane has been part of arguably one of the greatest Real Madrid sides of the decade, and one of the greatest teams of the world in the last decade. So his leadership, and he was also one of the most vocal members in that French dressing room up until his international retirement in the recent past. So Varane becomes a very tantalizing and a very interesting option, considering the fact that he has the entirety of his time devoted to the club now that he's retired from the international setup. Another option is Casemiro. Casemiro has leadership in his DNA. Not only on the field but off the field as well. There was a very small instance when we won the Carabao Cup and when we were coming down from the winners' podium. There was a differently abled fan on the periphery of the staircase, while the initial players just shook hands and it was a very basic form of pleasantry exchange. Casemiro went ahead and enveloped him in a very warm embrace, and from there, every player seen that and every player followed suit. That is what leadership is. You set an example for the rest of the players, and those players follow suit, and then they go ahead and imitate you. So actions do speak louder than words, and Casemiro for me is the perfect option to be captain. Not only because of the fact that he is one of our best players, but he has that mentality And as we've heard throughout the course of this season, that Casemiro's emphasis on perfection, his attention to detail, are the qualities that can hold the entire side accountable for their actions, and can also hold this group of players in good stead because they are young. It can have a very good imprint on them from a physical as well as a mental standpoint. It helps them to be more responsible and accountable for their actions on the field as well as off the field. Another very interesting option is perhaps Marcus Rashford, man born and bred, understands the club, understands its values, understands the reason why this club stands for, and understands the pure ethos of the club. However, he's still 25, of a young age to be a captain, and we've not really seen him lead the team, or we've not seen anything. Yes, he has shown that he has the capabilities off the field because of his social campaign, so on and so forth. Does have the leadership DNA. Whether or not he's able to translate that performance as a leader on the field remains to be seen. Another wildcard option was Weghorst, but then again it depends on whether or not Weghorst stays in the club for more than the stipulated loan period that is there. So I believe the captaincy options that should be looked forward apart from Bruno are definitely David De Gea, Rafael Varane, Casemiro, and Marcus Rashford. Out of the four, I certainly believe that Casemiro is the perfect option to be captain of our side from the next season. Because if you could give Harry Maguire the captaincy in the middle of his first season, I do not see any reason why you cannot give Casemiro the captaincy after an entire season. Surely understands the club will be in a much better position to communicate considering the fact that he is taking English lessons, and also there is a fair amount of Portuguese and Spanish speaking players in the side. So it's not like his message won't get across the team. And also with the fact that actions do speak louder than words. So I genuinely believe that Casemiro should be our next captain. But for the criticism and the slander that Bruno has been receiving over the past 24 to 48 hours, I believe it's unjustified. Bruno has been a very, very able captain over the past 4 to 5 months. He's worn that captaincy armband with pride. He's led the team with a sense of responsibility and has never shirked away from any sense of responsibility. He's always been there. And even in the times when he was not captain, he has been one of the most vocal members of the side when it comes to defending fellow players, when it comes to defending his manager, which was very evident in Ole's last game in charge of United, where he requested the fans to vent their frustration on the players and not on the manager. So this is the type of players that are required. Yes, there is a certain limit after which his petulance does get to your nerves, but then you need to have these characters in the side. And I do not feel that there could be any other option right now apart from Bruno at this point of the season. I genuinely believe that I'm not a fan of the opinions that have been generated for Bruno. I believe that he should be the captain for the foreseeable season because he has been doing well, no doubt about it. Uh, he's able to get the best out of these players, and he is one of the most experienced members in the dressing room as well. That needs to be understood and that needs to be taken into account as well. So yes, Bruno for this season, yes. Bruno for next season, no. Casemiro should be our captain for the coming season and for however seasons that he plays, whether it's 2 seasons, whether it's 3 seasons. But up until that point, there has to be a suitable replacement that has to be groomed to become our next leader, because a good leader wins you half the battle, whether it is on the pitch or whether it is on off the pitch. So I personally believe that leadership is an issue that needs to be taken seriously after the end of this season. For now, our focus needs to be this season and the rest of the season that is yet to come. So with Bruno at the helm, I'm pretty positive that we could go on to do much better things. We're still in the FA Cup and the Europa League. Hopefully one trophy out of the two under Bruno's captaincy would be a very, very good way to end this season. And yeah, that is my 2 cents on this current captaincy issue that is being taking. I find it very surprising that the media outlets and the sources that have been speaking about this waited until the Liverpool loss to come out in full force. Goes to show how gargantuan we are, how big we are. That it required one loss for all the vultures to come out. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Delvin's 2 cents. I will be coming on with another episode shortly. I'll see you soon. Till then, Do show us love on our YouTube page. We are coming very close to 2,000 subscribers. We plan to reach it by the end of this month. Do smash that like button, do press the subscribe button, and do click on the bell icon so that you're notified for every video we put out. We are also active on our socials on Instagram and Twitter. Do drop us a follow there. Apart from that, I say this on every stream. I say this on every episode. Every day is War Match Day on our official WhatsApp group. Do join us there. We are an ever-growing family with room for more. With that being said, this is the end of today's episode of Delvin's 2 Cents. I'll see you soon. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe, and GGM, you guys.